Hiram, and also good evening. So over here is I'm in Malaysia, so it's evening time, and also good day for all of you. And I'm very honored to be here, and thanks for the invitation. So first of all, I would like to say thanks to our Indian regional committee member to actually put together and host this event. So I really appreciate your good work, and I'm look forward that for these 10 classes will bring a lot of impact to your community and also our community around the world, right? So these online tutorials, if you look at the content, it is very similar to one of the series that we have conducted ever since the beginning of our online classroom. But this time, I think we will more focus on the hands-on experience. So which means when I discussed with Harem about this, so he wanted to have this tutorial session where you try to assist people to build up the system step by step. So you will hold hand with the people that attend to really work on the system of themselves. So I hope with this very good intention will give a more in-depth experience for the participants, especially we focus a lot on the hands-on experience to build robots, to learn about artificial intelligence and how to put all these things together to build service robots. So that is our purpose. So I hope this new series can really focus on this hands-on experience and give a more in-depth experience for our participant in this online learning of service robot development and also learning of artificial intelligence. Right, so I look forward for these classes, and also I hope like all of you can enjoy and also learn something new and also have a very good experience throughout this whole classes, not just this one but this whole series. And I also hope like our Indian community member and also our community in India will start from this series and grow much more than, and I'm look forward for more activity after this. So for RoboCup at Home Education, I think this class follow the same initiative that we try to promote artificial intelligence AI and also service robot development, particularly for at home development or application, but not just limit to the competition, but we also hope that everyone, whether you are in our community or you are actually doing something else, for example, like data science or IT and computer science and so on, but you will benefit from our classes as well. So from here, we will have not just the software, but also we talk about hardware and also how to put all this thing together. And we actually open up all our example code, our teaching materials, like for example, the slides and also the video after the class will be up. So all this thing will be open for everyone. So you can actually refer back to our web page to use these resources to grow your community as well, or for your learning after this. And also, I would like to uh, remind everyone that we try to put everything on our website, and also if we are more focused on our community. So I hope you can join our Facebook group, and also we can communicate over there and look forward for more activities after this. So I really hope like after this class, maybe our Indian community member can actually organize some competition event over there. So I look forward for that, and thanks for the invitation today, and I hope you all enjoy the class. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jeffrey, for the introduction. So now we'll begin with
Yes, I'll
the
pass
presentation.
the mic over.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
Firstly, maybe you could like turn off your microphone. Yeah, when you are not yeah, presenting. Right, so Haram, I'll pass back the mic and you can continue with the session.
Yeah, just 1 second. I am getting up the slides.
Yeah, well, I understand that my volume maybe is not so loud.
Yeah, just 1 second. I
Okay,
think the Wi-Fi is a little bit problematic, so it's taking some
okay,
time.
right.
Yeah, can you hear me now and see the slides? Jeffrey?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see the slide. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I turned off my video. The Wi-Fi is causing some problems. So can you just look at the chat and see if there are any questions and like stop me if to answer them?
Yeah, sure. Just proceed with the presentation.
Yeah, okay. So just a disclaimer that this session is being recorded. So you can switch on your camera and your microphone if you're comfortable. Otherwise, it's okay. You can just send a message in chat. Uh, yeah, so let's get started. So first, this is the agenda for today's session. This is the first session and of total of 10 classes that will be happening. The first four are mainly to get an overview and then to set up the laptop or PC to do the service robot development. This is also would because we have many different people over here from different diverse prior experiences in robotics. So this will make sure all of us we are at the same level before we move further. So yeah, first we have to look into what is service robotics. So we have different pictures over here of robots that have been developed. Uh, so basically what a service robot is any robot that can be used mainly to help humans. So any robot so in this case, we see this seal kind of robot over here that is a therapeutic robot. Then we have the Pepper and the one below it, that's the Honda HSR. These are for domestic service robots with different focus on the social side. One is more on the manipulation side. And then we also have robots like on the bottom right over here, the Sony Abo. Uh, so yeah, all of these different robots come under the category of service robotics. So it's not just that only, we should not have a very focused view when you talk about service robotics. And next we have to ask why are we pushing for the open source development? So this chart over here shows different uh, robot platforms, research or development platforms in terms of their cost and their direct application to real life. So we see that on the one hand, we have the Lego Mindstorms kit. It's very much on the affordable side, but it's only for conceptual development. You can't actually implement it into real life. And then, oops. On the other hand, you have this PR2 that are very research focused robots, very expensive. The point of using something like the Turtlebot and doing our at-home education development is to fall right in the center over here with a robot that is relatively affordable, but also directly directly applicable. So next, a little bit about the RoboCup at Home education initiative, the RoboCup at Home itself, the competition from which the RoboCup at Home education stems. So it's basically for not, so when you see RoboCup at Home, it does not just mean for robots that can be used in the home, but robots that can be used in a domestic situation or in an office workspace or many different things like that. So, and under that, we have human robot interaction, navigation, speech, computer vision, object manipulation, different things that are being covered. And because the focus of this league, more than the competition, is the actual research and development that goes into it, there are a lot of variables in terms of the competition when you see in the video. Nothing is actually certain. So that ensures that, like in our homes, things are always changing. It's not a static environment. So the development keeps that in mind too. This is a slightly long video. I'll play it right now, and then maybe just the first few minutes of it. And then the slides would be uploaded to the website. So I think they're already uploaded to the website. So you can go back and watch the entire video too.
The concept of at home started when I was not satisfied by the soccer playing robots, sometimes doing things which might be dangerous because they don't understand the world.
Yeah, so I don't think my Wi-Fi is cooperating with me today. So the videos that are on the slide, you can look into it later on. So it basically gives an overview of the reason why RoboCup at Home was founded. And yeah, so do watch the video. It will give you an overview on. Yeah, sorry for that. The Wi-Fi is, yeah. So as I was saying, the video would be there in the slide. It will be uploaded to the website also later on. So do make sure that you go through the video. It will give you a very nice overview of RoboCup at Home, the kind of things that are done, and then also the different robots that are developed. So now we have over here the Turtlebot 2. So the Turtlebot 2, if you might be familiar with it, is a very bare bones research platform. But right now, what we are planning to use it for is domestic, to help in the domestic environment. So for that, you do need to expand the platform a little bit. So these are two videos over here. I'm not sure if I'll be able to play them. So the first one would give you an overview of one task, that is the help me carry. Yeah, so sorry for that. Can you hear me now and see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll continue right now. What I was saying was that these two videos over here, the first one is the help me carry task. That is a standard task basically in RoboCup at home education to benchmark the robots.
Jack, take this to the living room.
So as you can see over here, the robot basically had to follow the person outside. So the map you can see was initially the known environment, and then it had to follow the person outside while creating a map, and then take the paper bag and remember where it came from, and then take it back to the location that's been asked. So in this case, the robot is taking the bag to the living room. So it knows where the living room is and it's taking the bag there. Yeah, so the next one is similar to that one, but this is the autonomous navigation task. So you can see over here that the robot has a map and it knows where it currently is. And then over here, you can interactively point the robot where to go to, and then it will actually use that to go to that particular location.
สนใจลงโฆษณาติดต่อรายการ098 879 6292
ย้อนเวลาหาเพลงฮิตที่คิดถึงหวนคำนึงเพลงความ
Can everyone please just mute themselves right now?
มอบความสุขนี้แด่คุณโดยดีเจกุ๊กไก่ค่ะ
Yeah, so I was playing this video over here. And we have the robot here, and once you click a particular So that was the robot. Now we actually see the different components that are there in the robot. So this is in terms of when you compare the components of the robot to the parts that a human has. So like the mouth, ears, eyes, legs, arms, and brain. So the different parts over here. And we can be a little bit more technical when we define these parts. So here we see the different uses of the different parts actually. So human robot interaction, that's the microphone and the speakers. And then we have the Xbox Kinect camera for the robot vision. And the mobile platform, that's the TurtleBot, the base, the Kabuki itself. And we have a robot arm that has dynamical motors that can be used to grab objects and move things around. And finally, the most important thing, that is the actual intelligence that's running the robot. That will be, in our case, a laptop. So because it's even in the physical Turtlebot, it's a laptop, we can easily port all of this over to simulation, which we'll be doing in the current circumstances. Next over here, yeah, as I was just mentioning, the different actual components that will be used. So for now, we don't need to worry too much about them. But later on, when you do get a chance to acquire the hardware and work on that directly, then you might need to keep in mind what exactly you're using. Yeah, so now we come to the different software components we'll be using in over the next few weeks. The first thing is ROS. So what that is basically a framework or a middleware that eases the process of the robot software development. So it, first of all, it provides the different drivers and processes for us to connect between the different sensors and the motors and hardware that we're going to be integrating. So we don't need to actually worry about that when we make a robot. Then we also have different the tools, that is the graphical software, and then also the command line interface software that's being provided. The third thing are already the packages that are already available for us to use. So even right now, there'll be a little bit, very little code that you'll have to write on your own. Most of it is using packages that are already available. So because all of this is in place, and then also you have the ecosystem, that's the because it's open source, you already have a lot of people around the world who are using this. So if you have any questions or if you need any collaboration to be done, you can always rely on the community. So what this allows us to do is to forget problems like how do I make this driver work and things like that, and mainly focus on the application we want to make using the Turtlebot or any other platform that's being used. Then we move on to MATLAB. So MATLAB, as you know, is a very powerful software. We would be using it mainly for its processing abilities. So that would be image processing and for navigation. There are also some implementations of other functionalities in MATLAB, such as the speech part and then also the object manipulation using the ARM. But for this particular course, we'll just be looking into the navigation and then the image recognition using MATLAB. Those are the two images you can see over here. And the same thing is in MATLAB too, like in ROS. You have a lot of packages that are already available and it's well documented. So you can just use the sample code and get started and then modify it to your needs to build up your application. And yes, the most important part is the simulator itself. So the Gazebo simulator is a simulator that's more or less like the standard simulator that people use when you're doing robotics development. You can see over here, this is a Tiago robot. And then you also have models of many other robots, not just the Turtlebot. So once you finish this course, if you are feeling very adventurous and want to try out another robot, you can feel free to do that. You'll find the same support as it is as that's available for the Turtlebot. And the few links to the open source resources that we'll be referring to during the next few weeks. I would say that the first link, that's the online tutorials page, is one that you should bookmark immediately, because these slides, the recording of today's video, any open source code that will be required, assignments and other videos that you have to watch, all of those links will be over there. So if you have that one link, then you can find everything else from there. And then also I would like to highlight that we have the forum and other support groups that are there. So we have the Atom EDU Facebook group. Over there, there are people who are always active and will be welcome to help you out with whatever issue you have. Apart from that, for ROS and Ubuntu specifically, also there are particular wikis that you can use. In fact, I'll even be showing an example of how to use these resources, because they're very powerful. It's just You need
Here
to
I'm,
know.
here I'm really sorry. If you could just allow, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Just 1 second. I don't see anybody in the waiting room right now. But yeah, if anybody is there, I'll just let them in. Okay then.
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the example of debugging. So suppose we run this command that sudo apt-get install ROS indigo desktop full. So we don't need to worry about what the command means for now, but this is basically installing ROS. We'll be running a command similar to this later on. So say we run this command in a terminal and then we get the following error output. As you can see, it's always important to read the output that comes, because once it exits, we should not just assume that it has run successfully. We should read it. Over here, we see that it says it's unable to correct problems. You have held broken packages. And then it also gives a few details of what packages are not installed. Now, this might be a little bit confusing because you don't know what has to be done. So the best thing to do in this case would be to just Google search the last line of output from here. That's the E colon all the way till packages. So you search that, and the first few links that you'll find something like this on this page over here. That's answers.ros.org. I mentioned that previously, and so you find many different pages over here. Click the first few links, see if they're giving a similar answer, and try them out. So the screenshots over here are from this page. The question is being asked, and the output is very similar to what we saw. And the answer given over here, we can see what they're telling, and then also the expected output. So as you can see, usually because these are packages and tools that many people are using, they will have similar problems that people might have run into, or even if it's a new problem, you can always post it on the forum or support groups and somebody will definitely get back to you. Yeah, so the next thing is the Ubuntu setup that we'll have to do first thing after now that we're done with most of the overview. When we are setting up Ubuntu, there are two options that you could go through. One is dual booting your laptop. That's either your Windows 10 or Mac OS laptop that you have. You dual boot it with Ubuntu. That means both OS would exist on the same system, but you'll only be able to use one at a time. The other option is a virtual box or a virtual machine. So that is also doable in that the Ubuntu software would run within Windows itself. What we recommend, that is from many people actually trying things out, and some things working, some things not. The smoothest experience you'll have would be if you do the dual boot. That's what most of the people who are in at-home education currently they use, and you'll find that it's easy to do. And then later on, even if you do feel like you want to move Ubuntu to a different system, it's not too difficult to do. So that's the recommended way, and that's what we'll be following for this series right now. And then the website from which you can download Ubuntu. Yeah, so the last thing is the assignment. So before next class is from the agenda, we saw that the second class is about installation of Ubuntu, but in that we'll be covering the troubleshooting part. So once you go through the installation procedure, if there are any problems that you come up with, do post them on, do keep them ready so they can be addressed at that time. So the two videos that you need to watch, one is an overview video that will give you the requirements of your system for having for doing the service robot development. The main reason we're giving that is because you'll be doing simulation and things like that. So certain minimum specifications are required. Then you also need to watch the Ubuntu installation video. There are many Ubuntu installation videos on the web, but then the thing is they're not catered to the Atom education development. So it is better if all of us have a similar installation procedure that we follow. So it just makes things very much more streamlined and reduces the amount of time that will be spent on it too. So these two videos would be uploaded a few hours after this lesson ends. And then the red line is very important. You have to make sure that you back up all of your personal data, because although it's very rare that something wrong happens that will erase your data, it's always better to be safe. So do have a hard drive on which, external hard drive on which you back everything up, or to the cloud. Either way works. Yeah, so that is the end of this presentation. And now we are open to questions. If any of you have any questions, then yeah, please do ask right now. There are a few contacts over here. Another thing is also the LOC India contact. I'll update that to the slide too. So you can use that, and the OCE@robocop@home.edu. Both email IDs you could contact, yeah. So now, yeah, just check for the questions. We have one question. I installed Ubuntu 20.04 LTS as a dual boot. Should I reinstall or not? So the reason why we recommend 16.04 LTS is because that is where the packages have been tested and are the most stable release. I know that 18.04, some people have gotten it to work if they build it from the binary, but easier process would be if you have 16.04, and that's where everything is tested and will 100% work. In the other releases, especially 20.04, I'm not sure whether it's actually supported or not. Yeah, so it will be better if you do, it is like strongly recommended that you will boot with 16.04. How do you freely type Python 2 in Codecademy from scratch? So yeah, so this is about Python 2. What we'll be using in this course is Python 2. If you do know Python 3, it's very easy to move to Python 2. There's not too much of changes. And then next we have, will we be using ROS Indigo or Melodic? Okay, that's a good question. We will be using ROS Melodic because, as we said before, we are going to be using Ubuntu 16.04, and the ROS version that is supported by that, it will be Kinetic only. So yeah, each Ubuntu version has only one supported ROS version, so that would be that. Yeah, so if anyone has any more questions, just do ask right now.
Hiram, while we're waiting for more questions, if you can walk through that different sessions, right? What is the thing covered in those 10 of those? That will help. I think in the beginning, you a little bit rushed through that. Yeah, what exactly will be covered in speech synthesis and robot simulator? What level of simulation one will reach? This type of detail, if you can give.
Yeah, sure, I can do that. So as I mentioned, the first session was the session we did a brief overview of the different things we'll be covering. Sessions number 2, 3, and 4 we will be mainly looking into any problems that are faced during the installation process of these components. So we expect you to do the installation on your own between the sessions and then come up with any questions that you have. So by this point, everyone should have a laptop that is set up, and then we can do the development part. So first we'll be looking into speech synthesis and recognition. That means we will be using so for speech synthesis, that means converting text into speech to make your robot say things. So for that, we will be using the FestFox festival package. So that's the package that you can download with like 2 lines, 2 commands, and then you can just run the example directly. And then we also have speech recognition, which will be using CMU Pocket Sphinx. And so all of these are open source packages that I'm naming. We will go into more detail later on also. Then robot simulator, that's because, so when you just install everything and have your laptop ready, then that is, you have your laptop ready for doing the development with the physical TurtleBot. So to actually run the simulator, there are a few changes that have to be made. And then we'll also focus in that session on like getting used to the simulator environment, the controls and everything. So we can then use that easily later on. SLAM map building in Robot Arena. In this, we will be looking into we'll use the Gmapping package in ROS. So and then we'll also be looking into how to use RViz. So that's a visualization tool that comes with ROS. So we'll be able to look at the robot views, the camera, that's the RGB and the depth camera that the robot can see. And then also the map that the robot will create. We'll save that map also. And we'll be looking into how to make a map, because there is certain amount of time that you have to give to making a map to get a good quality map. And then that would affect how your robot would perform when it's performing autonomous navigation, which we'll cover next time. So we have an entire session dedicated to the SLAM mapping, because we need to understand how to make a good map. Then when we do the navigation, that's similar to the video that I showed earlier, where you can have the robot commands to go to a certain point and it should be able to go back on its own. The 9th one, so now we have 2 sessions on the image processing part. One would be color-based image segmentation. In this, we would be using MATLAB, the color thresholder app in MATLAB, and then we'll be creating an image tracker using that. And in the last one, we will be actually looking into pre-trained neural networks. How can they be used to do some vision related tasks? So that's like face recognition, and then age detection, emotion detection, gender detection, things like that. Yeah, so that's an overview for these kind of details about what we'll be covering in each of these. You can actually look at the website. A few lines are written about each session. And then when we actually do the class, then also there'll be a lot more detail that we'll go into. So we have a few more questions. Can I use a Raspberry Pi instead of a laptop? So yeah, I think Jeffrey answered that question. So that's basically, yeah, so I'll just say that again, in case you haven't read that message yet. It's basically the laptop is much more powerful than a Raspberry Pi. So although the procedure would be the same, because we'll be running simulation and all of that, and it has been tried already. And in the laptop also, the dual boot method is the one that works best. I personally done different methods, and many a times the install just fails, or later on when you're running the simulator, the laptop crashes, or when you're running MATLAB, the laptop crashes, things like that happen. So it's better to avoid things like that later on, and now itself make sure you select the correct laptop or the correct system with the proper specifications that can support this development. So that's why I was mentioning you should look at the installation video, the overview video, before you actually start with the installation. If I have a kinetic, do I need melodic? No. So if you have Ubuntu 16.04 LTS with ROS Kinetic installed on it, then you do not need to change anything. We'll be sticking with Kinetic for this series. Will the final output of be a fully developed service robot simulation will be covering topics independently? So yeah, that's a good question. The main focus of this will be to, at a very basic level, cover the different parts that go into making a service robot. So the different parts would be covered. And then if you do want a little bit more detail, then you can look into the online classroom course that has been conducted by Jeffrey, and that's there on the website. So that goes into much more detail of the different parts. And if you are looking for a fully developed robot, then a few sample applications are there in the sample code on the GitHub page, like the follow me one. And then there's also autonomous navigation tasks. That's going to a different point and coming back. But beyond that, like the application that you developed is up to you. So you can use these components and make whatever you want. Will the assignments be based on group work or individuals? So the assignments are basically not homework that we're giving to you. It's just that things that can be done on your own between the classes. So that would actually save time in the classes, and the class would be mainly focused on solving any issues that come up. That's the main purpose of the online tutorials also. But yeah, the assignments are basically things that you can do, and mainly it'll only be during the install time actually that you'll have assignments. That's doing the installation. Beyond that, there's no assignments as such that will be given. Yeah, but to answer your question, that would have to be done individually because everyone will set up their own laptop and do the development.
So if we have no more questions at this point, Hiram, you may want to talk about how multiple people will be accommodated into maybe more than a group, because we have initially planned around 10 plus people in one stream, right? So if you can check with people, if there are groups of same university, same school, how we can use this introductory session to plan it out and later inform the timings and the program details, right? Because right now we have 30 people participating, and then we also have a few more who are not in this call but coming from in India, who will be accommodated in another parallel session. So in total we have today around 40 people. It would be quite impractical to do a kind of tutorial based debug sessions, and making sure the whole idea of the tutorial is to make sure everyone is able to move forward, nobody gets stuck. And then we have a lot of material with online classroom, which Jeffrey mentioned. Once people get started, understand basic functions of the robot, they can go and access much more material. So how do we do that? If some people can chat who are in groups, that will let us know. Also, to be very clear, that would everyone want to do everything practically, or some of the people could be attending just to get an overview. Please be very open about it, so that we can plan this whole exercise in a productive manner. So can we get some information on that, please? So maybe we can check, maybe, how do you suggest, Jeffrey, we can do that? Because we need to know how many will go through the entire practicals. So if really 40 people will go through, we'll at least need to have 2 groups, if not 3. So we need to know that.
Yeah, I'm not sure like how you want to arrange for different group. Are they going to happen in different timing or how? Maybe
Yeah,
you
different.
want to like
Yeah,
tell the audience what the option they can choose. Then only they can know
Yeah, yeah.
how to, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. So different days, but timing will be pretty similar to what we are doing today. This time suits multiple time zones, so we'll keep the same, but on different days of the week, like that. Typically in a week, we'll have no more than 2 sessions. So that's the plan. Correct
So
here?
I will suggest if you want to separate all the people into different groups, so I guess you just list down all the possible day and time that you're going to offer and tell the capacity. Then let them choose.
Okay. So for the current batch, which is the 14 names we had, we'll stick to them. I think, Hiram, do we have everyone from that group of 14 in this call? Almost all?
I am not sure, but I think we do have quite a few people from that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll keep it like that. So if there are a few people dropping off, we will probably accommodate more. So we can publish, as Jeffrey told, 1 or 2 more parallel sessions with their timings, so that we can see people how they will accommodate into those. But the timings will be similar to what it is today. So when I think Tian is asking which university or from country, it is no problem if people are, we can accommodate people from same country into multiple batches, no problem. But typically what happens, if you're from the same university or a school or a club, you would like to probably be in the same batch to understand things and probably make a team and participate in the challenges which Jeffrey is organizing at the international level, and also various local committees are organizing. So that is why we were wanting to know who are from the same university or a batch, that's why Tian, we were asking. I hope that gives you the answer for your query. Okay, so Hiram, anything more to cover today, or is this clear on the assignment side of it, what to do? And maybe what I suggest is let everyone can continue with the assignment. So just the next session is essentially about debug, right? It's more about looking into the problems people faced. So we will definitely do that. Just the timing and the days are at this point, we do have to come back on that. I think Hiram would inform everyone soon on that. So don't wait for that. You please continue with what Jeffrey has mentioned, that URL, which has these slides. And one video is already up there, right? One more is going to be uploaded tonight. So you will have enough material. And another thing, Hiram, you want to talk about how people can collaborate within the group before the next session. How is that going to work? Using the group chat, sharing best practices?
Yeah, so what you should do by next session would be to at least attempt the installation of dual booting Ubuntu on your laptop. So while you do that, there might be a few issues that you run into. So do like write them down on the WhatsApp group, and then we'll try to answer them at that time only. Or if it's something that many people might face, then they'll be taken up during the session too. So just you can get started with this. So the videos, both of them, the slides are already up on the website. This recording of this session would be put up in some time. And then the two videos for the laptop installation, those are also being put up right now. So you should be able to access them in a few hours from now. So you can get started. And yeah, as Shrikant was mentioning right now, the timings would be more or less the same. The days might change a little bit, but then there'll be enough gap between the sessions, and then we'll not keep any sessions on the weekend. So yeah, so you can just get started with the work. We'll get back to you as soon as possible on the possible timings, and then maybe take your poll on, like take a poll or something on which one you would like to go for. But do remember there'll be a limit. So once a limit for a particular batch is reached, you will be put automatically into the other batch. So
Hiram, the one on the discussion of the issues, because while the next session would work on the debug, but we want to use the time effectively, right? So you'll still have an hour to make sure all the 14 odd 15 people are able to get this working. So it's highly encouraged. Please post your issues in the channel, WhatsApp channel we have. Don't wait for the next session to happen. So some of the issues can be solved before that. And also more importantly, it's a community activity. It's a very closely knit community. RoboCup is. We are so happy that Jeffrey and many people took initiative, a lot of pain to build all this. And some of you may be already exposed to RoboCup, and some may not be. But we are very sure you will feel very comfortable and part of this global community. So there is a WhatsApp channel. Rabe, is it correct way to pronounce? I hope Rabe Anderson. There is one for the current 14 people who are already first subscribed, and then others have registered. We'll create more channels as well. Maybe, I don't know, I have to ask Jeffrey's opinion. Just for the pure knowledge sharing, it may be more useful to have a larger channel where people can post their problems with some packages and operating system versions. What do you think, Jeffrey? It may be better to keep a single one, right? Or you suggest to keep multiple for different batches?
Okay, so far for our communication with the community, they are encouraged to communicate with us using our Facebook group, because over there, not just me, but the whole community are over there. So it's easier for interaction between the all the people.
Okay.
But yeah, so unless you can't access to Facebook, then we have to sort out another way. But so far, that is the platform that we're using.
Okay, so maybe we can discuss on Facebook as well these issues, but they may be far too many at this point. People will have very nitty-gritty hardware, software, and some of them may not be very appealing to everyone in the community to see. No? People may think that I'm seeing the same issues all the time. So, but it's very important for the person who is actually experiencing it, those issues. I would suggest first few sessions till we get started. And also please, those people who are very conversant with Ubuntu and open source may find the first few weeks to be a bit slow, because you may be very quick in having all these installations done and troubleshoot. Bear with it. The fun stuff with the robot and the functions and use cases can only start once we install everything. And typically Jeffrey and us left this to people to do before the workshops in the past. And trust us, every workshop everywhere in the world we organized, we ran into so many issues which could have been avoided had the installations been done well. And we lost almost 20% of the time just solving those things which are really nothing to do with robot building, right? So that's why we kept this as a item with very clear help instructions and things like that. So please bear with it, those of you who know it already very well. So Jeffrey shared the Facebook link. Please use that too to post. As we move forward, we'll have more robot related, MATLAB related, ROS related queries and problems, and we can post there. As Jeffrey said, more people can see that and help us. And also it can be in the records for future robot builders. So for the current one, Hiram, just you can add people into the same WhatsApp group for letting everyone to at least get the build done on the computer.
Yeah, so for now, I think we'll add everybody to one common WhatsApp group. And then, so you can ask your questions, and I think that will be better, because then more questions can be asked, more questions can be solved. So then, yeah, so for now we'll do that. And later on for the sessions, most likely we'll send out an email to everyone. And then in that you can just, reply back with your preference for the batches details that we'll send in some time. Yeah, but as mentioned already, right now you can get started with the installation of Ubuntu at least, so that we don't lose any time in the process.
So just before we wrap up, let me introduce the team from here, the local committee which is helping Jeffrey and Hiram to coordinate this and organize this. We have Vivek in the group. Vivek is the founder of SmartHead Robotics, one of the very popular persons in the robot building circuits in the student community in India. And then we have Yash, who is also a trainer, and he's also in SmartHead Robotics. And along with Hiram, he will conduct the training over the next few weeks. We're all from the same organization here.
Yeah, hi everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thanks Jeffrey, thanks Hiram for presenting this and getting this started, Jeffrey, and we look forward to having good contribution from everyone, and I'm sure it will be exciting. Have
thanks a lot. Yeah, and look forward for the next class.
Nice evening, nice good morning wherever you are, and stay safe and nice. Bye.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and look, we will get back to you on the WhatsApp group. I'll just add you in a few minutes right now. So everyone would be there in one WhatsApp group, and then we can get started with the work. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for attending. Bye everyone.